Hi, I am Manu, and this is a short video on the meaning behind the logo I use for In Me I Trust. Here's the logo again. What is this based on? How did I get to it? What do the different components of it refer to that is of interest to you? They refer to a parable I read a good time ago. The parable of the king, the scissors, the sage, and the needle. It doesn't matter who told the parable the first. There are different versions of the story of the king and the sage. And in any case, I'm very much in favor of the message rather than the messenger. I hold the view that in spirituality, in religion, it never really is about the messenger, but very much about the messages. These are like the first self-management disciplines of humanity, of humankind. Coaching disciplines avant la lettre. When I was in Paris in 2016, I came across this book in a shop window. I didn't buy the book, I just took a picture of the page that was on display. It depicts in a way a very similar message to the parable of the king and the story. Also a story of a king and a sage. For the keen observer, yes, there is a dog in the painting and no scissors or needle. But in this video, I will not go into the metaphor of the dog, explain what the dog stands for in you. In this video, I'm explaining the basis of the In Me I Trust logo and the messages it carries for you. This picture is to prove that the story of the king and the sage is around in different versions, and it has been around for quite some time. The painting shown in that book dates from the 1500s, by the way. And now for the parable. The story goes as follows, in its short version. A king hears of a great sage being in the land, and he decides to pay this renowned sage a visit, to offer a precious gift. So the king sets out with his retinue to find the sage, and when they do, he has someone of his entourage offer the gift. A pair of golden scissors inlaid with gems. Upon being handed this priceless gift, the sage gratefully refuses the scissors. Astounded, the king asks what the sage wants, if not such a magnificent gift. To that, the sage replies with a simple, "Kindly provide me a needle." That's it, as said in the short version. Now what is this parable about? What is the meaning here? What are the messages here? Stories such as these always contain great messages for life. And as a life coach, obviously these stories interest me. So as in all my videos, allow me to translate this into some short guidelines for improving how you experience your life and the relationships you have in it. So here goes. 2 big messages contained in the In Me I Trust logo. The first message relates to the king and his gift, the scissors. It doesn't matter the country or era, the era in which this king would have lived. And neither does it matter if you're a man or a woman. Even if the story uses a king and not a queen then. For the king and the scissors are a metaphor for your ego mind. You know, the me ego, and the mind instrument of all our thinking, your thinking, and not to mention all that mind reading. This mind of ours is a fantastic tool, but for the vast majority of humanity, it is far more than a tool. It is a master. Many people are ruled by their minds. Their minds dictate pretty much everything in their life. Their ego mind is truly the ruler of their life, of their being. Is that any different for you? I would bet not at present. With this mind of ours, the human intellect, like with scissors, we cut up reality into smaller and smaller pieces. Me and not me, mine and not mine, my group and not my group, my tribe and not my tribe, my country and not my country, my opinion and not my opinion. This is this and that is that. This means this and that means that. I want this and I do not want that. This person is like this and that person is like that. I prefer this over that and I prefer that over this. I am like this and I'm not like that. I have this and I don't have that. Everything gets sliced up into little fragments, snippets of reality revolving around the me with a small m, the ego. Now why do we do that? All this cutting up, all this dividing provides for overview and control, at least a perception of control. And control over one's life, control, especially over what happens in it, even if it's just perceived control. That's what it's about. But all this mind activity, all this thinking, all these thoughts, they can come to torment you. In a workshop I attended years ago, there was this lady who was so desperate to silence the barrage of thoughts in her head. She craved a kind of on-off switch, so she could stop the overwhelming current of thoughts. For her, clearly, her ego mind was not so much a king. It was more of a tormenting tyrant, a dictator. The mind is a good servant, but a terrible master. She wanted it so desperately to stop. She wanted to fight it off. But fighting it will not make it stop. No, you have to learn to become the observer of your own thoughts. Sit back in the driver's seat and wrest that king role from your ego mind. Clearly, you are not your thoughts. You can observe them. A thought really is just a thought if you let it. Many people, however, entertain their thoughts because they are attracted by them. They are interested in them, usually negative thoughts. They believe their thoughts and let themselves be directed by them, like servants to a king. How is that for you in your life at present? If you, like that lady in that workshop, would like to be less in your head, less in your mind, want to leave your thoughts be, take the position of observer and use your imagination. You could picture, for example, the flow of thoughts as a river, and you let it flow instead of trying to stop it, which is like damming the river. The thoughts remain. They become a whole reservoir of thoughts. Another way, you could picture your thoughts as bubbles and let them fly away, or let them pop like soap bubbles. Anything that helps you to turn your thoughts into items that come and go. Switch on your inner observer. Make it your king, instead of your thoughts, your ego mind. Leave your front door and your back door open. Allow your thoughts to come and go. Just don't serve them tea. So this is what the crown in the "In Me I Trust" logo represents. After the ego king and his mind scissors, let's analyze the sage and the needle. Who, or better what, do they represent in you? The second message contained in the "In Me I Trust" logo. The sage stands for the heart, your heart. This figure in the story refers to heart-centeredness, to living from your heart. What do I mean with this, living from the heart? Who does that nowadays, you could ask? A very good question. I have read these catchy one-liners here and there, where the author describes the heart as a fool, as an idiot. Through that statement, that person clearly revealed to me that he or she is still very much ruled by his or her ego mind. You see, the ego, the mind, does not relinquish the role of ruler that easily. You will need practice, daily practice, to assign it its rightful place. And that is a tool to know and understand, and that's all. All the thinking that comes in between mind activities of knowing and understanding is mere occupation therapy. You see, we have become so busy, especially in our head, that many people have to learn the silencing of the mind and the centering in the heart. I had to. So how do you get to heart-centeredness when you are living, or have been living, or still very much are living a life from your mind level, in a world where the mind is so much emphasized? One exercise I did for a long time, and occasionally still do, and which you can do after this video, is the following. It will help in understanding heart-centeredness, and hopefully you will experience it, even if just for a short while. Close your eyes, and imagine how inside your body you are descending from the level of your head, your cerebral brain, into your heart area. Imagine how you are descending a ladder into your heart, or using an elevator going down to the level of your heart, or down a fireman's pole, or a slide, or a staircase, or an escalator. Whatever works for you, to help you to descend into your heart. Use your breath to assist you in this exercise, where you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with every breath out, you descend deeper into your body, right into your heart. And when you are there, you could imagine you have like an eye there, and you are looking at your life, at the people and the events in it, from that vantage point, from that point of attention. For the critical thinker, yes, our imagination is still generated with our mind's eye, but it's just an aid for now to learn to focus your attention there. When you got the hang of it, you can center in your heart, have your point of attention there, without any help from your imagination. I have to be honest here, it took me a good deal of practice to get there. And I still get stuck in my head at times, but at least I'm conscious of this mind-centeredness when I do it. And then I consciously switch to heart focus, if and when I feel like it. Because at times I choose to get stuck or remain stuck in my head. Because as stated, thoughts can really interest us, me, because they get me going on an ego trip. And these ego rants, well, there's a sense of power, of charge in them. I guess that's why we are attracted to them in the first place. Just don't let them rule you and your life. Learn to focus in and from your heart. Try it. It really is worth all your efforts. If you want some more information on this, you can read my ebook, In You You Should Trust, available through inmeitrust.com. I also wrote a short article on the topic, Don't Believe Everything You Think, which you can find on my website. Okay, now back to the parable, the story. So the sage represents your heart. Contrary to the mind, which cuts up reality into pieces, your heart is the exponent of your inner wisdom, an inner knowing that transcends by far any ego-mind knowledge. It is from your heart, it is your heart that can generate the sense of oneness with a capital O. It is at that level of your being, from your heart, that you can experience a, quote, magical sense of oneness, a sense of interconnectedness of all and everything in life, of you and all around you, being part of one connected network, like an interwoven fabric. Here we get to the answer of the sage. Kindly provide me a needle. For we use a needle to stitch things together, back together. I remember observing as a child my mother sewing up a hole in one of my socks using needle and thread. And that is the perfect example of the meaning of the needle asked by the sage in the story. It is from and with your heart that you can bring together again all the different pieces of your reality that has been cut up by your mind. To obtain the proverbial big picture, the big picture of life, of your life, and with that access to great inner wisdom. As said, from your heart you can generate the sense of connection with all and everything. Experience the oneness underlying all, reuniting all that has been divided by your mind. In the maze of the mind, your heart knows the way. Why should you do this? Well, to bring true harmony into your life. If you want to go for those more harmonious, healthier relationships, first and foremost with yourself. Of course, it is good that we have a mind that we can use as a tool when we need to make calculations and apply analytical thinking to understand life as such, at least to a certain level. But in relationship to yourself and to others, having your point of attention in your heart, quite literally, instead of in your head, will always yield far happier results. If you want to live a life in bliss and grace, that is how to achieve it. Use your mind when that is appropriate and or required, and for all the other things in your life, try heart-centeredness. Your ego mind might already be going, seriously, what is this guy on about? That's just the ego mind that cannot experience the sense of oneness of all and everything. A quite normal reaction for an aspect of your being that generates the perception of division and separation. I am connected to all and everything is difficult for an aspect of your being that is all about the me and not me, about so-called duality. Your mind is what generates all dualities in the first place. All these me, mine versus not me, not mine. Your mind has to observe everything in your life from its vantage point. And that is in essence one of, this is me, the mind, and this is not me, not of this mind. And it applies that to everything your body-mind system registers. As a life coach, I can have people come in and talk about their life from the level of their head, from their mind. And everything appears to be fine at the surface. And it happens I ask them to drop into their heart. And then stuff comes up they hadn't quite literally thought of. Knowledge comes from learning. Wisdom comes from living. That is what the heart and needle in the In Me I Trust logo represents. When you start practicing or are practicing heart-centeredness, know that your mind can play tricks on you, will challenge you and test you to get you out of that state. This is one of the messages of another great spiritual story, the story of Prahlada. It's not without reason that I chose that name for my company. Watch my video on Prahlada to understand what messages this story carries for you. It conveys very similar messages as the parable of the king and the sage. I said that I would keep this video short, therefore I will. In summary, my logo is composed of the king with scissors image of the ego mind, your ego mind, and its approach to life, to reality, cutting it into pieces. And of the sage and needle image of your heart, and its approach to life, to reality, as inherently all linked, connected, stitching back together all that your mind has created in duality. So my logo is a call to understand the workings of your mind and to apply the solution to an overly active and dominant mind. That is heart-centeredness. Because that will bring you more inner peace and harmony inside. And from there, more peace and harmony outside. To be able to center in your heart, you will need to be in body, as it is called. For me, that will be learn to be in body. That is one of the big messages I explain in my video on the Christ crucified. What will this bring me, you may ask? To that I can only answer, experience it. Your mind cannot experience, it is simply occupied with thought. But your body, that can experience. Your whole bodily system is designed to experience. And it contains that treasure, that is your heart. Watch my video on the Eye of Horus for more information on your bodily system, and especially its senses. These senses you may take for granted, but believe me, they are anything but ordinary. And on that note, thank you for watching this video, and bear in mind, relax, nothing is in control. Hello again. I hope you found this video interesting. You can watch all of my videos on my website, on my YouTube channel or BitChute channel. And if you would like a weekly dose of inspirational quotes accompanied by comments of mine, you can follow me on Instagram under InMeITrust_777 or on Facebook under InMeITrust. You can also check out one of my boards on Pinterest under, yet again, InMeITrust. Or you can visit the In Me I Trust webshop. And if you would like to make sense of what is happening in your life, give meaning to it, you will find my contact details on my website. Links are in the captions below. And remember, life is what you make of it.